Hello everyone, welcome to Stoics Every Day. Today I am going to tell you most powerful quotes from most influential people in the world of Stoicism. Stay connected till the end. Before starting, don't forget to like, share, and comment. You can also join our membership program for exclusive content and more such perks. Now, let's start. When someone wrongs you, ask yourself why they did it. Once you understand their idea of right and wrong, you will feel sorry for them and stop being amazed or angry. If their idea is the same as yours, you will forgive them because you would have done the same in their place. But if you do not agree with their beliefs about right and wrong, it will be easier to overlook their mistakes, especially if they are confused and unsure about morals. You know your own worth in your own eyes and at what price you will sell yourself. Men sell themselves at various prices. This is why when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows and take part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, "Appear by all means." And when Florus inquired, "But why do you not appear?" he answered, "Because I do not even consider the question." For the man who has once stooped to consider such questions and to reckon up the value of external things, is not far from forgetting the manner of man he is. If something is bothering you from the outside, the pain is not caused by the thing itself, but by how you perceive it. You have the ability to change this perception at any time. The primary and most crucial realm of philosophy involves the application of principles, such as honesty. Following this, we delve into the rationale behind why dishonesty is unacceptable. The subsequent domain reinforces and elucidates these arguments by questioning how they constitute proof, what defines logical inference, contradiction, truth, and falsehood. This third domain is indispensable due to the second, which, in turn, is essential because of the first. Despite this hierarchy, our focus tends to gravitate towards the third domain, neglecting the first entirely. Consequently, we find ourselves in a paradox where we engage in deceit while effortlessly justifying why we shouldn't. Remember that in life, you should act as you would at a dinner party. If something is offered to you, reach out and take your share in moderation. If it passes you by, let it go. If it hasn't arrived yet, don't reach out for it. Wait until it comes to you. This applies to children, spouses, public positions, and wealth. By following these principles, you will become a worthy participant in the feasts of the gods. If you can even decline the things offered to you, then you will not only be a guest at the gods' feasts, but also a part of their empire. Remember that everything we have is borrowed from fate, which can take it back without warning, often without even letting us know. Therefore, we should cherish our loved ones, but always be aware that we have no guarantee of keeping them forever, not even for a long time. Never call yourself a philosopher, nor talk excessively among the uneducated about theories. Instead, act in accordance with them, just as Saturn entertains. Do not discuss how people should eat, but eat as you should. Remember that in this way, Socrates also completely avoided any display of knowledge. When people approached him and asked for recommendations to other philosophers, he graciously gave them recommendations, showing his ability to handle being overlooked. Therefore, if there are discussions among the uneducated about philosophical theories, it is best to remain silent most of the time. There is great danger in quickly sharing information that you have not fully understood. If someone tells you that you know nothing and you are not offended, then you can be certain that you have truly begun your journey. Just like sheep don't regurgitate the grass they've eaten to show the shepherds how much they consumed, but instead digest it internally and produce wool and milk outwardly. In the same way, do not display theories to the unfamiliar, but rather the actions that result from them after thorough digestion. Philosophy is not a popular occupation, and it is not pursued for self-promotion. It is focused on facts, not just words, and it is not just a way to pass the time. It shapes and develops personality, organizes life, regulates conduct, and guides individuals on the correct path when faced with difficult situations. Without philosophy, it is impossible to live a life free from fear and worry. Many situations call for advice, and for that advice, we must turn to philosophy. What prevents us from saying that the happy life is to have a mind that is free, lofty, fearless, and steadfast? A mind that is placed beyond the reach of fear and desire, counting virtue as the only good and baseness as the only evil, with everything else being a worthless mass of things which come and go without affecting the highest good. This kind of mind neither takes away from nor adds to the happy life. A man with such a mindset will necessarily be attended by constant cheerfulness and deep joy that comes from within, finding delight in his own resources and experiencing no greater joy than his inner joys. My advice is simply this: what we hear from philosophers and what we read in their writings should be applied in our pursuit of a happy life. We should seek out the helpful teachings and inspiring, noble sayings that we can immediately put into practice. Let's not focus on complicated or outdated expressions, extravagant metaphors, or figures of speech. Instead, let's learn these teachings so well that they become a part of our actions. In my opinion, those who study philosophy but do not live according to its principles disappoint humanity the most. They treat philosophy as a mere skill to be learned for personal gain, rather than a way of life to be followed. All you need is to have certainty in your judgment and take action for the common good in the present moment. Also, have an attitude of gratitude for anything that comes your way in the present moment. Do not ruin what you currently have by wanting what you do not have. Remember that what you have now was once something you only wished for. True happiness comes from living in the present moment without constantly worrying about the future. It is about finding contentment in what we already have, rather than constantly desiring more. A wise person is satisfied with their current situation, whatever it may be, and does not crave what they do not have. Pass through this short period of time in harmony with nature and reach your ultimate resting place with gratitude, much like a ripened olive falling, praising the earth that nurtured it, and thankful to the tree that provided its growth. Wealth does not come from having many possessions, but from having few desires. Gratitude is not only the greatest virtue, but the source of all others. It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. If you acknowledge that you have experienced great joy, your responsibility is not to lament what has been lost, but to be grateful for what you have received. Remember to act in life as you would at a dinner party. If something is offered to you, take your share in moderation. If it passes you by, let it go. If it has not yet come to you, do not long for it, but wait until it does. This approach applies to children, spouses, public positions, and wealth. By following this, you will become a proper companion to the gods' banquets. If you can even refuse what is offered to you, you will not only be a guest at the gods' feasts, but also share in their power. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. We should try by all means to be as grateful as possible, for gratitude is a good thing for ourselves in a sense in which justice that is commonly supposed to concern other persons is not. Gratitude returns in large measure unto itself. There is not a man who, when he has benefited his neighbor, has not benefited himself. I do not mean for the reason that he whom you have aided will desire to aid you, or that he whom you have defended will desire to protect you, or that an example of good conduct returns in a circle to benefit the doer, just as examples of bad conduct recoil upon their authors, and as men find no pity if they suffer wrongs which they themselves have demonstrated the possibility of committing, but that the reward for all the virtues lies in the virtues themselves. For they are not practiced with a view to recompense. The wages of a good deed is to have it done. I am grateful not in order that my neighbor, provoked by the earlier act of kindness, may be more ready to benefit me, but simply in order that I may perform a most pleasant and beautiful act. I feel grateful not because it profits me, but because it pleases me. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. The desire for imaginary benefits often involves the loss of present blessings. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. The main task in life is to distinguish between what I control and what I do not control. I need to clearly identify which things are external factors that I cannot change, and which things involve the choices that I can control. When considering good and evil, I should not focus on external factors beyond my control, but instead look within myself at the choices that are in my power. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about the things which are beyond the power of our will. Certain things are under our control, such as our opinions, motivations, desires, and aversions. On the other hand, things like our bodies, possessions, reputation, and roles are not within our control. In our control, the most beautiful and important thing is the proper use of our impressions. We must focus entirely on things we can control and leave the rest to the universe. If you want your children, wife, and friends to live forever, you are a fool because you are desiring things that are not in your control to be in your control, and things that do not belong to you to be yours. The content of your character is determined by your daily choices in what you think and do. This shapes who you become. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. There are two things a person should never be angry at: what they can help and what they cannot. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Remember that we have complete control over the goals we set for ourselves. When a Stoic focuses on things he has some control over, but not complete control, like winning a tennis match, he will be cautious about the goals he sets. He will make sure to set internal goals instead of external ones. For example, his goal in playing tennis will not be to win the match external and only partially in his control, but to play to the best of his ability in the match, internal and completely within his control. By choosing this goal, he will avoid frustration and disappointment if he loses the match because winning was not his primary goal. As long as he played his best, he will have achieved his goal and his tranquility will remain undisturbed. Stoics suggest that I should not worry about whether my wife loves me, as this is something I only have some control over. If I do worry about it, my aim should not be to make her love me externally, as I might fail in achieving this and feel upset. Instead, my goal should be internal, to act in a lovable way to the best of my ability. Similarly, my goal regarding my boss should be to perform my job to the best of my capacity. These are achievable goals regardless of how my wife and boss react to my efforts. By internalizing goals in daily life, a Stoic can maintain their tranquility while dealing with situations they only have partial control over. Stoicism and Stoic philosophy are practical philosophies that aim to help people find happiness in life by developing resilience to hardship, adversity, and struggle. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Before leaving this page, please give this video a thumbs up and leave your feedback by leaving a comment down below. You can also join our membership program for exclusive content and more such perks. See you in the next video. Stay stoic.